Ladies and gentlemen, I have been one man who has been following the politics of this country since William Ruto got to power in 2022. And recently, I've been surprised by one man by the name Fred Matiangi. Because I've been wondering, what is the plan for Fred Matiangi? Looking at the past few meetings of the United Opposition, one that happened recently at the Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka Command Center, I could see that there was a noticeable absence of Dr. Fred Matiangi. And I was wondering what could be the reason why Matiangi is keeping all these meetings. There's also been some rumors of him being the project of Uhuru Kenyatta, sometimes being called the project of William Ruto, and sometimes people just say that he is fighting with one Rigathi Gachagua. And sometimes I feel like Fred Matiangi wants to frame himself as the appropriate candidate by forcing himself to be the opposition flag bearer. Fred Matiangi is a man who believes in himself and believes that he can deliver this country. And that is something that I agree with, because if you look at how he was able to handle the education sector, you can clearly see this is a person who is very transformative. He is dictatorial, yes, but his dictatorship is transformative and is actually positive for the country. I also thought, what is the plan for him to become the president? Because as much as we all know that Dr. Fred Matiangi is not a politician, he is not. He is an administrator or someone who can work well in a ministry. But he wants to be the president. What is the plan for Fred Matiangi? Because as much as people are saying that we don't need a politician to be the president, we need a worker or an administrator, we cannot deny the fact that only politicians win elections. Because as much as when I look at the Mitandao online on X and on TikTok, Fred Matiangi has invested a lot on blogging and on TikTok. Yesterday, I saw some videos of him calling TikTokers who support him to his residence in Nairobi, and they were all chit-chatting and praising Dr. Fred Matiangi. When you go to Twitter, you will see so many bloggers praising Fred Matiangi. But the popularity on the internet does not translate to the popularity on the ground. I know that election is still too far, but I think Fred Matiangi needs to capture the moment as early as he can, because he is competing not only with William Ruto, he's also competing with Kalonzo Musyoka and Rigathi Gachagua. So if at all he believes that he is popular and he doesn't need to keep on attending meetings of the United Opposition, then I think he needs to hold big rallies in the country. Even if it's not for a long time, maybe he can hold rallies so that just to make sure that everybody understands who Fred Matiangi is. Because to me, I feel like Fred Matiangi is somebody who relies a lot on others to help him achieve the goal of being the president. He is relying on Uhuru Kenyatta to come and campaign for him. He is relying on United Opposition to front him as the opposition candidate. And that is why I feel that Fred Matiangi is failing. I will take you back to William Ruto when he was campaigning in 2022. William Ruto started preparing himself from 2017 after they won the election. He prepared himself until January of 2021 when Mudavadi and Musalia joined him, because they saw that the movement is becoming better and better, and the win was absolutely, and there was a high likelihood that William Ruto would win the 2022 general elections. So what happened? William Ruto won the election, and he was able to have Wetangula and Mudavadi on his side despite the fact that it would have been so difficult for him to convince them to support him without first going out there and campaigning and showing them that I can actually win this election. Now, the issue with Matiang'i is that he is staying behind the scenes, watching others play, and waiting for them after they play, they're going to come back and front him as the candidate, which is a mistake. You need to sell your agenda. You need to mobilize people to believe in you and to follow you so that others can automatically follow you. So what I'm seeing from Fred Matiangi is a way of trying to capture bloggers who are going to fight Rigathi Gachagua and also are going to keep saying that Matiang'i is the sixth. You see, that is why he is failing. Because I don't think people like Kalonzo are not seeing what is happening. I don't think people are like Rigathi are not seeing what is happening. You cannot fight people who you want to be supported by. You cannot bully people into supporting you. That is what I mean. What Matiang'i should do is to start campaigning so that the likes of Matiang'i and the likes of Kalonzo can know this is the bus we are going to board. This is the person we need to support, not to intimidate them. You should make the ground easy for them to step into. And that is why I really feel the fact that somebody like Rigathi Gachagua could end up being the flag bearer. I know most of us are saying Kalonzo, but I'm telling you, the only person I feel and I see is prepared to face William Ruto is Rigathi Gachagua, and I'll give you my reasons. Number one, Rigathi Gachagua pushes himself to the limit. He's actually the one pushing Kalonzo. When they want to go for rallies, Rigathi Gachagua always goes with Kalonzo. Meaning what? Even Kalonzo is a pushover. He cannot just go and go for rallies alone. When Rigathi Gachagua was outside the country, none of the opposition leaders except Natembeya was holding rallies. So what I'm trying to say is that they need to be careful of Rigathi Gachagua. Because if they allow Rigathi Gachagua to keep on shining, it is a danger to all of them. Because Rigathi Gachagua will shine, and then when it comes to around 2026 December, he will be the only and the undisputable flag bearer without even being chosen. Because Rigathi Gachagua has a good tongue to convince people. The day he decides to move out of Mount Kenya region, they better pray Rigathi Gachagua is not received well outside. I believe Rigathi Gachagua can be received well in Masai land. He can also be received well in Western and Coast region. So, they better be careful of Rigathi Gachagua. Because most people are not counting him in the presidency. I'm not counting him. One, because he doesn't have an agenda. He keeps on saying one term. Now, are these people going to wait until Gachagua starts giving his agenda? And you know, Gachagua has a very sweet tongue. He can convince people about his agenda. By the time like the likes of Matiang'i, who already believe they are national leaders, who already believe that they should be supported, by the time they reach that level, Gachagua would have taken a lot of convincing to most Kenyans. And he is really being underestimated because even bloggers online are against Gachagua specifically. They are not talking about any other person. I was going through Twitter today and I realized that most people are tweeting that Kalonzo can be the president if he stops associating with Gachagua. And now I wonder, if they actually support Kalonzo, why would they tell him to disassociate with Gachagua, who has 6 million votes? So you can see the problem with state bloggers. They confuse people. Now, Kalonzo can be confused to disassociate himself from Gachagua to go and start looking for Luo votes or for whoever, when he already has Mount Kenya votes. Just like the same mistake that William Ruto did. He lost the Mount Kenya vote to go and look for Luo votes, which are not even predictable, because you cannot, without Raila Odinga, you cannot actually predict that you're going to get a good amount of Luo votes. And if you calculate, you can see that last election, Luos gave Raila Odinga around 800,000 votes. About 700,000 Luos refused to vote or did not turn up to vote. Now, what will be the turnout if Raila Odinga is not there? So there's a problem. So there's another thing that Fred Matiangi is doing. He's trying to come and divide Mount Kenya. Not to divide, maybe not to divide, but to try and hijack the movement that Gachagua has created. That will be the end of Fred Matiangi. Because he could have gone and started his own party or just use Jubilee, but use it for Kisii. And then when he has organized the Kisii vote, try to organize the whole of Nyanza. Because Fred Matiangi can easily be accepted in Nyanza region, in the counties of Kisumu. So he can actually come and tell somebody like Rigathi Gachagua that, you see, mimi naenda huko Kisumu, but you can't go there. Now it means that I am the better candidate because I can bring numbers of Kisii region and Luo Nyanza region. But you can only bring the votes of Mount Kenya region. You see, now, Fred Matiangi is not bringing anything to the table that Gachagua cannot bring. He's actually bringing what Gachagua is bringing. So in this table, he's only bringing Kisii vote. So if I was Fred Matiangi, I would try as much as possible to go to areas where I know Gachagua is not going. To go to areas like Kisumu, go to areas like Northeastern, go to areas like Coast. So that when it comes to the negotiating table, he can tell them, you, Gachagua, you are saying that you want to go for president. But me, I've been traveling all over the country. But you are only in Mount Kenya. You see, now you are in a better position to negotiate. You cannot just go to Mount Kenya region where Gachagua already is, and now you want to convince Gachagua to support you for president. You see, politics is about interest. And I know that even Gachagua has his own interests. He wants to get MPs. So you cannot say you want to get Gachagua's MPs and Gachagua's support. So you cannot get all of them. You see? So this Jubilee better go out there, outside the country, outside the region. Because I know from next year, Gachagua will be moving out to Mount Kenya and campaigning outside Mount Kenya. So if Matiang'i is not prepared by then, he's going to be overstepped by Gachagua. And I'm telling you, just be careful of this guy called Rigathi Gachagua. He might be the one. He might be the one. Thank you guys for watching. And what do you think about the messaging or the comments that I have given? I would like to hear your opinion on the comment section. Thank you guys, and peace.